Hello, welcome to my channel. So today we picked up another marketplace freebie, and I don't know too much. The owner of this Yardworks said it sat for several years and they couldn't get it started. So again, it's a Tecumseh Yardworks 4 horsepower 21-inch gas powered. It looks in pretty good shape. The deck is pretty nice. I did check. It seems like it's got some life. So let's get you set up and we'll get working on it. Be right back. Alright, so let's first off by check and see what it's got for fuel. As you can see, the fuel looks pretty good. I don't see any particles. It does look kind of old. A little bit of a bad smell, so you can tell it's been in there for quite some time. I'm going to move you over to check. We're going to check the oil. See what the oil is like. Alright, so the oil little dipstick is over here. Alright, so I'll show you it's pretty full of oil. As you can see, lots of oil and it's full. Alright, so let's close that up. Alright, so let's check for spark. Plug looks pretty rusted. Alright, so I'm going to get you set up. You can let me know if you see spark. Come on, zoom, focus. Alright. So you can see the cable sticking a bit. Oh, the cable is sticking. Alright, so I'm going to pause you there. I can't see if there's a spark. I'll be right back. Alright, so let's pull the air filter. Air filter looks pretty bad. I'll show you here. As you can see here, pretty deteriorated, so it's definitely going to need a filter. Alright, so let's just put that aside for now. Let's spray a little bit of starting fluid into the car. Just a see if it's got any kind of light. Okay, so that's good news. As you heard, it started. So let's check out how the underneath. See the underneath. See what the blade situation is like. So bring you in a bit. So it does look pretty bad under there. So let's start by seeing if the blade is torqued down. So it should be torqued down to about 70 pounds. Okay, so it should be 5/8 socket that should fix that. So let's see if it's set my torque wrench to 70. All right, so let's set the light here. Okay, so the blade is torqued down. As you can see, we got a lot of grass here. Just take a moment to clean all that up. We don't want to get it perfect. We'll go into more depth cleaning later. But the main goal here is to see if we can get this thing running again. Okay, that's good enough for now. Let's just quickly clean up. Okay, so that is cleaned up. I'll put this to the side. So I'm gonna pause it here quickly. I'm gonna get you set up, set the lawnmower up here on the table and get you set up better. Be right back. Alright, so let's start by taking off this top part of the engine. I believe that'd be 8 mil. There we go. Let's see. Yeah, 8 mil, I was correct. So far we need an air filter, we know that for sure. May need a blade, but we'll see if we can get away with sharpening it. But that would probably be the last thing. Again, the main concern here is to get this lawnmower back up and running. Alright, so let's take our spark tester off. Have one other bolt somewhere. So you have the 2 bolts here. Must be missing another bolt somewhere. So this is my first time working on a Tecumseh, or a yard work, sorry. Alright. I'll be right back. I'm just going to look this up. Alright, so I looked it up and I guess there's 1 bolt right here, and it's a 3/8. And I think this carb looks like it's going to be one of those carbs where I'm probably going to have to take off the exhaust to get to the bolts at the back of the carb, to take the carb off. So this gas tank looks like it just pops up. The bolt is a little tight and hard to get to, but it's coming out slowly. Should be able to grab it. There we go. Drop the bolt. Alright, so this should theoretically pop off. I don't think there's another bolt. There is another bolt, so this must pop off somehow. Okay, I'm going to put you on pause again to look this up again. Alright, so there's a tab that the gas tank sits underneath, and what I did is with a flathead screwdriver just parted back, and off comes the gas tank, exposing the last bolt that was giving me a problem. Alright, and off comes that bolt. Alright, so we're going to set this aside. Looks like the magneto looks to be maybe a little bit of too much of a gap. Alright, so let's start by getting this so there's no shut off. Okay, let's just get a strap. So let's just strap this up for now. Just so it's not okay, so what we got to do is so there's a bowl nut but no drain bolt. So let's pinch off the fuel holes for now. pinch off the fuel hose and start taking off the carb. If I can get to this bolt back here without taking the exhaust off. Will that work? No, it won't. So unfortunately, I think we got to take that exhaust off. All right, that came off pretty easily. Okay, so now we should have easier access to the carb. So my bet is that the carb is all gummed up. Need a 10-minute wrench. I can't get to. Be right back. Oh, too big. There we go, we're back in business. Well, it's always best to leave the bolts where they're supposed to go so you don't lose them. So let's just temporarily put them back in here. Alright, so again, let's remove the breather hose and let's get the fuel hose clamp off. Okay. Alright, you always got to be careful not to bend that. Alright, so here we go. Here's the carb. Looks in pretty decent shape. Let's take the fuel bowl off. Alright, let's get you set up a little bit better. So, what size would this be? That's a pretty large size. Alright. Bolt came out pretty easy. Let's see what comes out of the fuel, comes out of the bowl here. That's pretty dark. Yeah, so it's not looking good. See, as you can see, it's pretty dark. Some particles in there. But all in all, it'll clean pretty well in the ultrasonic cleaner. So let's start cleaning up this carb before we put it into the ultrasonic cleaner. Alright, so the pilot doesn't look blocked. Okay. See the float? So the float definitely needs some attention. Just need to get a Robertson. So it looks like the adjustment screw is sticking out too much. Should only be sticking out a few threads. All right, so let's start by turning on the ultrasonic cleaner. let's get things dropped into the ultrasonic cleaner. Alright, so we'll wait. As you can see, I have it usually set to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's up to 30 degrees now. I usually will leave it for about 10 minutes cycle, and that should bring it out nice and clean. So I'm going to pause you there, just to make sure we're not missing any other parts. We're not missing any other parts. Alright, so let's start. Okay, so while we're doing that, let's drain the fuel tank. Okay, so I'm back. Looks like everything cleaned out pretty good. Dry it up in here. I'll show you everything pretty much cleaned up nice and clean. And there's a carb, nice and clean. Alright, so let's start putting everything back together. Everything cleaned up pretty clean. Alright, it's a little tricky to get that in. Alright. So a little tricky to get that in. We got the float. All right, so we're all ready to go back together. Let's just sit back here. All right, the clamps look good. Alright, so now we can start by putting on the engine housing cover back on. I may have an RJ19LM spark plug, may, and I do. So this spark plug looking a little rusted, so why don't we just change this one out here. Although there's nothing wrong with the spark plug, it's a little rusted and old, no harm in changing this out. So there's the spark plug, pretty rusted, but there's nothing really wrong with it. But why not when we got a brand new one? Okay. All right, so the engine cover is on. So now let's get the gas tank in place. Okay, gas tank's in place. So let's get the fuel hose back on. All right. Fuel clamp is back on. Alright, so technically, all we've really done is a new spark plug which I had in my box, which I purchased for extra parts. It was around $6 or $7, which was purchased at a local Canadian Tire. I've just ordered a new engine control cable, as this one is worn out and stretched, and a new engine air filter. So let's put it back on for now, and then when the new one comes back on, we can install it. So theoretically, all we need to do now is fill it with some fresh fuel, and we may be able to get it to start. Or actually, before we do that, let's flip it on its side. Let's get it down off the table, and I'm going to put you on a quick, I'm going to stop the video for a second till I get it on the ground, so we can take care of that sharpening of the blade. Alright, I'm back. So I've got my Mastercraft, which shouldn't have no issues. And just like that, it's off. So I'll show you the blade. It's looking pretty rusted. But I'll put it into my vise and we'll clean it up. So I'll get you set up. I'll just pause you to pause here, and I'll get you set up at my vise with my grinder. Alright, so I'm going to first take my wire wheel and try to clean up a lot of this rust, see if we can save this blade. So, first things first, safety, number one. All right, let's flip it over. It's actually pretty sharp, not too bad. Just by cleaning it with my wire wheel. All right, so that's looking pretty clean. So now let's get down to sharpening. All right. Now where'd I put my grinder? All right. Didn't have to take too much off. It's pretty much close to being sharp. All right, so now let's do the old balance test. Alright, so theoretically it should balance. And we are perfectly balanced. Had I taken too much off of one side, it would have leaned more to one side. So we're good to go. So let's turn the power off here. I'll just stop the video and I'll move you back over to the lawnmower. Alright, so before we put the blade on, I'd like to just clean up a little bit more. Alright, so I'm just going to clean up a little bit more, and then we'll put the blade back on, and we're pretty much done for the night until we get the parts into the cleaner. Alright, so let me just get to brush all that out. I'll put you on pause until I clean that up, and I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back, all clean. Rather than bore you with the sound of my shop vac, as you can see I cleaned it all up. And now we're going to spray a little bit of Crown, round out a fluid film. This will help stabilize all the rust and aid with the grass not sticking too much. Alright. Let's get the blade back on. I'll show you the blade nice and nice and shiny. Nice and shiny on both sides. So the blade only goes on one way. Alright, let's get our just get it on securely, and then we'll torque it on. Again, it's usually 70 foot-pounds. Make sure it's hard to see there. It's hard to see, but it's set to 70 foot-pounds. All right, we're almost set to go. get. Tighten the handles a bit. Okay. Let's get some fuel in there. So although it still needs an air filter and a throttle cable technically still works. So it should start. So we don't need a whole lot of fuel in there. So for those of you that have a shop or a garage for whatever, at whatever size, my advice is when you're always done with stuff, to always put it back. A clean shop makes it easier for things to be found in the future. Alright, so I'm going to get you pulled back. We'll pop open the garage door. And then we'll get it, we'll try and run it. Alright, we'll get you set up outside. I'll just pause the video for a second. Alright, so I've set up my coiled magneto here. As I think it's not, I did test it, and it is giving about 5 ohms, so 50,000 ohms. So, but it's a little rusted, so I'm going to try to wire wheel a lot of this rust off. Alright, so that seems clean enough. Should make a good ground. So I'll pause the video and bring you back over to the bench. Alright, I have to apologize. I guess I wasn't recording when I tried to start this thing. I realized that it doesn't seem to be starting, so I think it's due to this magneto coil pack. So we're going to clean a little bit of the magnet here. Alright, so we can put it back together. And the terminal, give the terminal a little bit of polishing. Alright, so to set the proper gap, what we can do is we can just use a business card, which would be close enough to the proper gap. So just get this tightened down until we can kind of Alright, so I'm just going to go and find a business card quick. Alright, I'm back, so I got a business card here. A magnet will obviously bring it in. And let's get it tightened up. All right. So okay, so let's put this back together again. All right, I'm just gonna drop this on the ground. I'll set up the camera better. I'll be right back. All right, so after 5 long days of waiting with 2 wrong delivery attempts with Amazon for the OEM replacement through Amazon, they both came wrong length. I had to go and order one through my local small engine repair store. And as you see, it's it's an OEM cable, so it fits perfectly. The bracket fits in the hole, and the Z cable fits into the control handle. And then I just wire tied it to the middle handle, and then basically it feeds into the brake, which is just plug and play. So let's see if it's going to start. Prime it. Here we go. So that wraps up this video. If you liked the video, please hit a like and subscribe. Keep the channel going. As you know, I'm new to this channel. Always learning. If you have any comments, please feel free to comment below. Other than that, we'll see you on the next video.